Hello all, a very good day to all of you. This is Vilasini from Veranda IAS. And friends, today we'll be looking at the editorial analysis for the day 13th August 2025. So yes, today the topic of discussion is with regard to health governance and citizen engagement or civic participation in health governance. So yes, health as a topic it features in your GS paper 2 social justice. So yes, there is a saying, right? Health is wealth. அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது a good healthy population is definitely a productive population. A productive population can contribute better to the economic growth and will in turn help India reap the benefits of the demographic dividend. So yes, over here பார்த்தீங்கன்னா health as a topic involves multiple stakeholders. It is not just medical practitioners and the government but also citizen engagement, NGOs, civil societies, ivangaloda participation kuda in improving health governance is very vital so that India can achieve its dream of becoming a $1 trillion economy and also progress towards reaching Vikshit Bharat by 2047. So in the context, yes, today the editorial that we are going to be discussing is about reviving civic engagement in health governance. Okay, so GS paper 2 social justice features as an important topic. So overall inga pathingana the author has cited that yes, although many initiatives have been launched by many states to ensure that doorstep medical health facilities is available to all, problem is it still does not remain effectively reached out to many people, right? So inclusion exclusion errors can be there. People பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் awareness கம்மியா இருக்கு. So அந்த வேல is there inclusivity in terms of effective citizen engagement to promote better healthcare outcomes அப்படினு பாத்தீங்கன்னா it is a question mark. So in the context the author has spoken about some schemes, right? And other than that, the author has also discussed that citizen engagement in health governance, why is it important? What could be the major reasons, right? So adu patti author effectively discuss pannirkanga. Next one, what are the prevailing problems? Why is there a major hindrance for civic engagement in health governance? People's participation ஏன் கம்மியா இருக்கு? இது பத்தியும் author effectively discuss பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Next பாத்தீங்கன்னா the author also talks about a way forward and certain measures which are needed to improve health outcomes and health governance. So in the context yes, all these are the major scope of discussion under this particular editorial for today. So yes, உங்க எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், every time when we analyze an editorial, right, I keep reiterating many times and I will still reiterate it. When you read an editorial, the biggest problem many people face is when you start reading, it is fine, but as you progress towards the middle, you get lost. And there is not much of a clarity as to how do you decode an editorial. So in the context, one basic acronym that I can give you to make your editorial analysis simple will be the CODE approach. CODE. So in the context of பேசும்போது C basically stands for the core issue or the context of the editorial. O பாத்தீங்கன்னா talks about the opinion, right? The opinion of the author on that particular editorial, the opinions of different people. D பாத்தீங்கன்னா data can be very useful especially for mains value addition. And E பாத்தீங்கன்னா finally we're talking about editorial takeaways. And in the context for your exam, the takeaways matter a lot. These takeaways can further be divided into what is called as ICES approach. ICES approach. Talking about I, we are talking about issues. What are the prevailing issues? Talking about C, we are talking about causes. What are the major causes for these particular issues? Talking about E, we are talking about effects, right? Effects, impacts, implications, consequences. Talking about S, we are talking about solutions. We are also talking about suggestions, right? So overall pathina, this is how we will be analyzing every editorial that we discuss. So I hope this is clear to all of you. So yes, when you're reading editorials, make sure you don't get lost, have a certain degree of focus and have a framework in which you will analyze the editorial. So in the context la nama paaka pora ella topic-kume we will try incorporating code. And here let me tell you, இது வந்து rigid model கிடையாது. So சில டாபிக்ஸ்க்கு CDE இருக்கலாம், சில டாபிக்ஸ்க்கு CE இருக்கலாம், சில டாபிக்ஸ்க்கு COE இருக்கலாம். So depending upon the topic of discussion and the nature of the editorial, the acronym can also vary. So accordingly, நீங்களும் கொஞ்சம் fine tune பண்ணிக்கோங்க. So now going back to the discussion, right? So இங்க வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, if I try to incorporate the code approach, right? So context வந்து என்ன? Context is simple. Civic engagement, health governance இருக்கணும். Citizens' active participation to improve health outcomes should definitely be there. O வந்து என்ன? O talks about opinion. So opinion பத்தி பேசும்போது the author has given certain opinions. The author says a major challenge in India's health system lies in the prevailing mindset towards public engagement. This is an opinion, right? Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, if you talk about data, right? Certain schemes have been mentioned. For example, இங்க வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, the author has highlighted that Tamil Nadu has a scheme called as Makkalai, thedi, maruthuvam. Right? Similarly, Karnataka also brought in one called as the Griha Arogya scheme. It ellame aims at bringing about what is called as healthcare at your doorstep. But again, what are some lacunae or what are some fallbacks in it? Adiyum cite pannirukanga. So these are data. Talking about the major editorial takeaways, as you can see, the structure itself is very nice. Here the author clearly has mentioned number 1, talks about the need. Why is civic engagement needed? Next, issues. Why is civic engagement not effective? What is holding people back? And yes, talking about measures, way forward, why there has to be a shift, why is people's participation important, idu kuda highlight pannirukanga. So yes, in this context, CODE is clear to all of us. So yes, let us understand the context one by one. So number 1, Tamil Nadu irukattum, Karnataka irukattum, although we are implementing schemes for doorstep healthcare services, especially targeting non-communicable diseases, problem enna the outreach has not been very effective, and second, the awareness has not been very great, and third, how many people are actually getting benefited. Translation wise pathina, there are more people who have to be covered under this ambit. So this has been discussed. So in the context of why is people's participation important, to what extent can people influence health governance and healthcare related policies in our country, how can we overall improve health outcomes, இது எல்லாமே இங்க டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. So next, moving forward, let us talk about the major discussion, that is, why is citizen engagement needed to improve health outcomes in our country? Citizens engagement in healthcare ஏன் important அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, number 1, if you take India as a country, we are very diverse. There are people belonging to different sections of the society. So here we should not think medical practitioners, government mattuna should take decisions on healthcare, but if we are active participants in this process, we can also get benefited. So இப்போ இந்தியாவோட healthcare domain பார்த்தா, it is filled with different stakeholders. You have the government, you have healthcare professionals, you have people, you have the NGOs, right? You have civil societies, right? You have research and pharma companies, right? You have corporates, எல்லாருமே இதுல இருக்காங்க. So in the context, effective participation of all these stakeholders in health governance actually matters. Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, yes, health is wealth, right? So a good and healthy population will also be a productive population. So here Indiaல இருக்கிற vulnerable populations face பண்ற major issues வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, poverty, unemployment, lack of education and declined health. இங்கேயும் there is a bias. If you see how patriarchy is getting reinforced, healthcare benefits are more prioritized for men rather than women, because it is always seen as men are an asset and women are a liability. So in the context, yes, maternal health is often ignored, right? The health of the woman is ignored, health of children is ignored. So here overall the reproductive health, generations together, how this can have implications, idellame kuda irukku. So in the context, yes, to reaffirm the self-respect of an individual, to ensure that the laborer is able to contribute well to his work, having a good health really matters. And yes, when you are a healthy population, right, the overall healthcare burden will also come down. Government வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா rather than spending money, right, on improving health outcomes, on lifting people from poverty, we can focus on infrastructure development, we can focus on developing our country. இந்த மாதிரியான better ambitionsக்கு கூட the money can be diverted and used. So yes, in the context when people involve themselves, there will be transparency, there will be accountability, right? And in the context வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the issue of apathy, unawareness, lack of interest will also be curtailed, right? And here there'll be better responsiveness, efficiency in governance can also be improved, right? On the other hand, it can also help in rebuilding the trust between healthcare professionals and communities, right? And in the context, it will ensure that the benefits of good healthcare is trickled down to all sections of the society. In the context, this is the reason why citizen engagement is actually required. So next வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா what are the prevailing issues? Major issue என்ன? People are not interested, people are not aware, there is a certain degree of apathy, APATHY. Apathy is lack of interest, lack of awareness. So in the context, yes, people side பார்க்கும்போது lack of awareness is there. Next one வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா if we talk about different platforms and bodies, for example in the editorial they have mentioned a particular urban platform like the Mahila Arogra Samitis. இங்கே வந்து என்ன ஆகுதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா in such bodies also there is no clear hierarchical differentiation, there is no demarcation of specific roles, funding is not there, meetings are not happening regular. இது எல்லாமே ஒழுங்கா இல்லைனா how will it translate into improved healthcare outcomes, right? Next வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா talking about policy formulation, right? Whenever policies are being put forward, citizens are viewed as recipients, are not as participants in the healthcare process. So yes, rather if we are involved in the process, our discussions, our opinions are also taken into consideration, overall healthcare outcomes can also be improvised. Correcta? And next, இன்னொரு problem வந்து என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா if you talk about healthcare professionals, right, they are mostly trained in western biomedical models. And இங்கே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the awareness and the sensitivity towards public health training is actually less. So this is also becoming a problem. Yes, overall இன்னொன்று பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there is lack of understaffing. There is lack of understaffing, right? Medical professionals or a requirement is very high, but the number of seats filled is very less. So இந்த மாதிரியான issues இருக்கு, especially if we talk about tribal settlements, right? Very distant villages, right? Geographical isolation and difficulties are also hampering the progress of health and health benefits in these regions, right? இங்கே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there is ineffective screening, diagnosis, இது எல்லாமே கூட needs to be revamped over here. The overall money allocated to research and funding should also improve, right? So in the context all these are there. And yes, we also know sometimes the funds which need to be used very effectively for schemes, leakages இருக்கு, ghost beneficiaries are there, they are getting diverted, right? Capitalist interests are being met, crony capitalism இந்த மாதிரிலாம் இருக்கும்போது it hampers growth, it hampers benefits to reach mass sections of the society. So yes, talking about what measures are needed, number one, mindset of people should change. If people start believing that they have to actively participate in governance, it will ensure accountability, it will ensure transparency, it will improve efficiency in governance. It ellame will be possible. So here people are active partners in the process and not just mere recipients. This mindset has to change. And overall in the article the author says there has to be a two-pronged strategy. Two-pronged strategy சொல்லும்போது number one, empower the vulnerable sections, empower the communities. இன்னொரு சைடில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா also ensure that health systems are getting reframed. So these are the two-pronged strategies. So if I talk about communities, என்ன பண்ணலாம்? Awareness, அவங்களோட rights, அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கிற schemes and initiatives பற்றி we can improve their literacy on these particular things. Next, capacity building programs, right? இது எல்லாமே can be conducted. NGOs participation can be incorporated. Talking about health systems, right? Here, better policy formulation, better funding, better research, better demarcation of work, improved staffing, better capacity building, இது எல்லாமே பண்ணலாம். So when these go hand in hand, right, improved health outcomes will be there, and like I said, a healthy population is definitely going to be a productive population, right? So yes, conclusion பார்க்கும்போது the need of the hour, right? Citizens, civic engagement in health governments is a must. Right? So here this calls for what is called as a participatory approach. So inge vandu pathina rather than a top bottom approach, there has to be a bottom up approach. When people start engaging actively, when there is better civic engagement, health outcomes can also be improvised, and this will help us in ensuring affordable, quality, effective and also inclusive healthcare for all. So I hope the discussion was useful. So please go read about this topic again. Initiatives and schemes for health, right? Problems faced by vulnerable sections of the society. இதை பத்தி எல்லாமே போய் படிங்க. Thank you. All the very best.
Veranda IAS, where your dream becomes reality.